The only thing truly surprising about the Macomber Report is that it wasn't written in crayon. The emergency meeting of the North Idaho College trustees on Monday, April 24th, swirled around a single topic like water exiting a toilet bowl. That topic was the Macomber Report. This is the report that Shyster attorney Art Macomber... Oops, that's better. This is the report that Shyster attorney Art Macomber drafted in his so-called investigation into NIC President Nick Swain's contract, the reason why they illegally suspended him back in December 2022.
I need to investigate. I want to protect our president. So I am going to recommend to the board, based on everything I just said, that the board puts Dr. Swain on administrative leave, and then I can do the investigation. My point is that once I get the investigation done, then I can report back to the board what I find.
So the report finally dropped on Monday, and to the surprise of no one outside the KCRCC and their flying monkeys, the Macomber Report is a joke. I'll be commenting on the specifics as I continue my coverage of the April 24th emergency trustee meeting, but suffice it to say, this quote from an April 27 opinion piece in the Idaho Statesman sums up pretty much everyone's feelings about KCRCC crony Art Macomber. The majority has hired former Attorney General candidate Art Macomber, who is the laughingstock of the state bar. The first offensive thing that happened at the meeting was the censure of Trustee Brad Corkill, a true conservative Republican who took the sham report and shared it with someone, we don't know who.
Whereas it has come to the knowledge of the Board of Trustees that Trustee Brad Corkill has violated his fiduciary, ethical, and moral duty to this college, and his actions have harmed the college by his willfully disseminating confidential board information that was protected by attorney-client privilege. Whereas Trustee Corkill has shown a disregard for following majority decisions of the board and to pander to his interest groups with his actions, this behavior continues to jeopardize the accreditation and shows a disdain for proper board governance. This behavior is the same behavior that led to the increased costs associated with ICRIM to settle with Dr. McLennan, with the board admitting no wrongdoing. So, as board chair, I do make a motion that this censure be passed and approved.
Excuse me, sir. Mr. Chair.
No, you are not recognized.
If you out of order.
If you keep speaking, please be quiet. One problem with our board governance is bad behavior has not been properly addressed. We had a training, an ACCT training, where all the trustees who were in attendance agreed that board governance needs to be improved, and we're improving it. One step and demonstration of evidence is when you do something that's not right, we call it out, and we say, don't do that again.
Do I have to mean like not showing up to meetings?
Violation of attorney-client privilege document prematurely was that I believe that was a poor choice.
Are we under discussion right now?
We are under discussion, and Trustee Corkill,
Okay,
you're right.
first of all, the attorney-client privilege states that the attorney can't talk about the issue. I can talk about it. And there was no provision anywhere saying that I can't give that report to whoever I want. Now, what needs to be said here is Art Macomber prepared a report at college expense that sounds like a roadmap for a coup to get rid of the college president. My allegiance, my fiduciary responsibility is to the college, to the taxpayers of Kootenai County. It's not to three members of this board, and it's certainly not to their attorney. should be available so that everyone can see it, to see for themselves what's going on here.
That's right.
I see this as an unhinged analysis, and it recommends taking action that would be against the law and a violation of the current court order.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead and censure me, okay? If that's what you feel is important, but I did what my conscience told me to do.
Thank you, Brad.
Brad Corkill is exactly the kind of Republican we need in office. Honorable and upstanding. A complete contrast to the three rated and vetted wackos who control the board majority and who are leading this educational institution on a path toward disaccreditation. This is what happens when ignorant voters think that this card is somehow worth more than the paper it's printed on. So Chair McKenzie read the censure report, which Trustee Corkill decided to respond to in a most brilliant manner.
I just want to point out a couple of things about your censure report here. For one, I don't pander to anybody, okay? And number two, you say that I jeopardize accreditation. I think that a couple of the biggest jeopardizing situations are, one, that report, and two, this meeting.
Bingo! That meeting did more to damage North Idaho College's accreditation than any stupid report or charges of censure. Now I'll show you what the good trustees had to say in response to a ludicrous suggestion by McKenzie. Pay attention to how on target Terry Zimmerman is, and how it's obvious that her IQ is greater than the collective brain power of McKenzie, Banducci, Wagner, and Macomber.
This violation of attorney-client privilege is even worse because it was given, literally, the information was given to opposing counsel of the people who are, so.
Excuse me, who was it given to?
Do you want me to say? I don't think it's wise if we say.
Go ahead.
You're accusing him of it.
Trustee Zimmerman.
Thank you. Trustee Corkill is one of the most honorable men I've ever known. And I will tell you, this thing about the current attorney-client privilege, you guys have it backwards. We have been strong-armed since the beginning of my trusteeship by email, by our counsel. Attorney-client privilege emails come across like this, and it's like, that's a threat. I feel threatened. And I am under no obligation not to share that information. It's the attorney that is under an obligation not to share that information. We were at a meeting and he was asked, did you share the report? And he said yes, but he didn't tell you who he shared it with. And he has every right to share it with specific people and without any penalty. And you don't know who he shared it with.
Actually, I do know who we shared it with.
Well, I disagree. I do not think you know who he shared it with.
Terry Zimmerman, you were in the room when we found out.
No, you're drawing conclusions. I was in the room. You're drawing conclusions.
When all was said and done, Corkill promised that in the future he will tell the board before he does something. He didn't say he wouldn't do it or wait for their approval, just that he'll give them a heads up. Apparently that was enough for Banducci to vote against the censure. Yes, even a blind squirrel can occasionally find a nut. The vote was 3-2 to decline the censure. Now, there's more to the meeting, and I'll tell you, they wasted over 30 minutes on this one topic alone. It was maddening to watch. I was frustrated. It was chaotic. It was the most poorly run meeting I've ever attended. Even more proof that these ideologically pure right-wing nutbags can win elections, but they just can't govern.